Well, let's hop in. It's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
You bet, same.
I always begin my interviews with 6 years ago. This pandemic was changing our lives, and it still has reverberated into our modern world today. How much of living through that has changed the way that you approach things, and how did you get through that era?
Oh man, I mean that's the turning point for me.
Yeah.
Um, during the pandemic, I was in a incredibly toxic relationship, and then you're on lockdown, and it was miserable. So I needed to do something completely different. I left New York and moved out here to Arizona and started anew. I was looking for something completely different from New York. And this is about as different from New York as you can get in terms of pace, lifestyle. It's just beautiful out here. Not that I don't love New York, I do, but Arizona was a chance for me to kind of start over, start new in a fresh place that I've never been before. Um, so that's how I got through it. And that also was the turning point of my change in my career.
And when you say New York, do you mean Manhattan?
Yeah, I was living in the city.
Okay, all right. How long are you originally from New York?
I am. I grew up on Long Island
Okay.
and spent my whole life there until I moved into Manhattan. I was in Manhattan for about 15 years or so before I pieced out to Arizona.
My dad was from Massapequa. He was born in Brookline and
Oh,
raised in Massapequa.
yeah, Massapequa was on my Long Island Railroad train line.
Okay. Yeah, there was my aunt and uncle owned a pastry shop called Severole, and it was big up there. And every time my dad went up there, he would always get a box of pastry, and he was going to bring it home to all of us. And on the way to LaGuardia, he would eat the whole damn thing, and it looked like he wrestled a ghost, and he'd have agita the whole way home. So, but those were good memories. And for me being a Kansas City guy, I would just sit back there and it was like that before reality TV. They would all bemoan Buttafuoco and all of that stuff that was going on and just listening to the way everybody was talking. It was beautiful. But that had to be quite a down throttle to go from such manic levels of activity for human beings on the rock there to go into a more spacious, warm environment.
It was a welcome down throttle and one that I gravely needed. I was facing serious burnout in a 20-year technology career, um, working for large companies, enterprise organizations like Ernst and Young, and just big companies. And I was just, I was mentally gone. I was just totally burnt out. So I needed the down throttle to kind of reset myself and figure out what was important to me,
Yeah.
and then align those values with the actions that I was taking.
So it sounds like what you did, you're using that as the backbone for the coaching. You've lived that experience, and that's what you're giving to your clients.
100%. I've got a big sign on my wall here in front of me that says, I'm the coach I once needed.
So talk to me a little bit about exactly what you do on a daily basis. I'm going to put you in front of 12-year-olds. It's career day, and that inquisitive kid in the back of the room is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?"
Yeah, I equip nerds, techies, other high achieving individuals, excuse me, with the tools to avoid burnout, to align their values with their actions, and to help them set boundaries. That's a big deal. People in technology were very like yes people and grinding and doing the thing and making it happen. And uh, our boundaries are not very good. We say yes to a lot of things and get overwhelmed.
You're totally right. So talk to me about what you wanted to be at that point. When you were 12 years old, what was your dream gig?
Oh man, when I was 12, I was looking to be a veterinarian.
Okay.
So something completely different.
So was it the blood and guts that ultimately got you away from it?
Uh, no, I think it was the medical school.
Yeah.
I just gravitated away from that. I was not a math guy. I wasn't a science guy. I was more of a arts person, writing and literature and that kind of thing. So I just gravitated naturally away from that. It's like I want to be a fireman, I want to be a veterinarian,
Yeah.
But I've been a lot of different things, so it's been an interesting ride. I did go to college for theater,
Okay.
and I was a project manager for a couple of years when I graduated. And then I was in the wholesale jewelry industry for 12 years. That was a family business that I got pulled into. And then I finally figured out what I really wanted to do, and I became a project manager, and then spent 20 years in the tech career.
So those are all very specific, like skills that you've acquired, and you're obviously highly driven. You're successful. Take me back to your childhood. What were these foundational elements, whether by osmosis or directly that you saw with your family and people around you?
Yeah, childhood wasn't great. I grew up in an abusive household, and the way that I coped with that was to, be high performing. I put all my energy into the grind and all my energy into, getting the thing done. So that really wasn't kind of the best model. I really didn't have my values well defined. And that's really what I've learned is the North Star of someone's activities. And when your actions are aligned with your values, your life just becomes much easier. So growing up wasn't so great, but I've, been able to kind of take that energy and the drive that was created by, that environment, and put it to good use.
So let me ask you this: who's been your inspirational force? Who's been your hero in your life that's allowed you to navigate to this coaching point?
It's interesting. It's a great question. And it's funny that you say it because, excuse me, my hero was actually the same person that was my abuser growing up. So my dad, was very volatile, very angry, and sometime in my mid to late teens, he recognized that he was this type of person and that this was, uh, generational. He grew up in the same kind of environment. His dad grew up in the same kind of environment. And for whatever reason, he decided that he didn't want to continue that legacy after, those many years that he was doing that. So he completely transformed. He went to therapy. He completely transformed. He became the individual that everyone else saw him as. He was a dentist. He was very generous. Um, very caring on the outside, but inside family life was not so great. But he ended up becoming the person that everyone else saw him as. So having experienced that transformation from someone that, is really kind of in their own stuff to pull themselves out of it, that's what drives me. That's the inspiration. There's always, always, always a chance to change.
So what moment did you have where you realized coaching was the way that you were gonna live your life and help others? Did you have an epiphany?
In 2022, uh, I was working in technology. I was a delivery lead running a big program for a big company, and Russia invaded Ukraine. And we had a lot of Ukrainian developers on our team, and I saw their whole life just get upended. And it was just so, so upsetting. And I didn't know what to do, but I felt like I had to do something. I started Googling, how can US, how can Americans help Ukrainians? And that led me down a little bit of a rabbit hole that had me on a flight to Poland 2.5 weeks later to hook up with a British transportation company that was taking refugees who had crossed over into Poland from Ukraine to other points in Poland. So I had an opportunity for a couple of weeks to drive families to safe houses, to doctor appointments, to other relatives. I drove a British Marine who had volunteered on the front lines, returning home. I drove him 4 hours to Warsaw. It was the first rest that he had gotten in ages.
Wow.
So that was just a very moving, transformational experience that made me realize what I had been doing in technology and what I'd loved doing all of my life was helping other people like move forward. I loved seeing my direct reports that, I had back in the early days of technology grow into VPs or start their own companies. And so that was a turning point for me. I had the epiphany of values and actions aligning with values make people more satisfied and create less friction in your life and just make things smoother. So over the next year and a half after that, I just slowly shifted one foot still in technology. I still do some consulting work for companies that I'm aligned with. And it's my choice, right? As opposed to working for a big company and saying you've got to work for, Evil Corp USA. Uh, so I get to choose my customers now, and I just love working with my coaching clients. I developed a program called Life Reboot Nerd Edition, and it's a gamified coaching experience. So think coaching meets Dungeons and Dragons. So you create your character in the beginning. That's session one. You create your character. I've mapped 6 different human attributes to RPG tropes like energy, equivalent energy equals strength in Dungeons and Dragons. So you create your character, you baseline yourself, and then over the course of 12 weeks, we have main quests and side quests and boss battles, and you gain XP and you watch that character that you created in the beginning level up in real life. So I'm having a lot of fun with it.
That's
But yeah,
cool.
that was a turning point. Going to Poland. Phew.
Oh, I can imagine. And what you did is you did a lot of different acts of kindness for people. And I'm curious in your timeline, what's the one of the nicest things that anybody did to you, whether it changed the trajectory of your life or that it's really stuck with you?
Man, that's a tough one. I'm very fortunate. I When I first moved to Arizona, I didn't know anyone. And I wanted to meet people and I didn't know how. I created a board game meetup that ended up becoming one of the largest board game groups in the Valley. We got 80 people over to the Casual Pint every Monday night for this is post-pandemic, so people are like first coming out to, be with others. And we had consistently for a year and a half, 80 people come play board games every Monday. And the group is still going. I handed it off to some of the other people that had come in that were very active. After I'd ran it for 18 months, I handed it off to them, and they still get 35, 45 people. And that created so many friend groups, and
Yeah.
that created so many offshoot friend groups and other friend groups. I don't even remember your question, Joe. I just got so excited in the story.
No, you did. That's it. Yeah, I mean that's exactly you answered my question about that random act of kindness. So I'm curious, what is it that motivates you every day to get up? What's the alarm clock vibe whenever that happens? What is it that allows you to coach well and to take care of your own soul every day?
Yeah, I get to have fun doing what I love to do. And so there's no better life than that. And the key for me and what I teach people in my program is how to identify their values because a lot of people don't even know what they're all about. They don't know, they've just kind of been living life and they never really sat down and said, what's important to me? So let's find out what's important to you and then let's align your actions with those things that are important for you. And you don't have that friction. So I do that for myself too. My actions are aligned with my values. I love helping people and I want to help them succeed. So that's what gets me up every morning.
So when the big word retirement flashes with lights going around it in your brain, what do you think about? What do you conjure?
I mean, I like to travel. And so I wouldn't mind doing some more traveling in my retirement, but I still want to be connected to people. I don't know that I'll ever, officially leave coaching. It's not it's been a journey to get here, long journey from theater to wholesale jewelry to technology to coaching, right? It's been a long journey to get here. And at each step of the way, mind you, I did feel like I was following my true north. And then, as the years went by, especially in the technology career where you're really getting ground down, that kind of fades away. Your burnout starts to take over and you're just like, you know, not excited to get up in the morning because you're not doing things that are aligned with your values.
So let's dive a little bit into the technology part of your soul. What's one of your favorite pieces or your favorite piece of software and your favorite piece of hardware ever?
Oh man, I guess my favorite piece of hardware has got to be the VIC-20 because that was my first computer.
Okay.
You know, that kind of opened things up. That was like, oh, I could actually, the VIC-20 was my first computer, but my dad had an Osborne, and that's what I used to play Zork.
Okay.
I don't know if you know the Osborne, but the Osborne was the first portable computer, but the thing was the size of a suitcase and weighed 25 pounds.
That's
But it did
awesome.
have a handle on it.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, I'd say one of those two pieces of hardware. The software, man, when ChatGPT hit the common market, it kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
And it's just gotten better and better. It is definitely not a replacement. I don't want anyone to get afraid that it's replacing their job because it's not. It's a dumb machine. It's just a predictive model, right? It's not going to take over the world, but it is such an amazing kind of starting point or jumping off point for someone, and it has blown up my creativity in a huge, huge way.
So when I was a kid, everybody had the Ataris.
Yeah.
But my dad was a salesman and he worked at a TV store and he got a thing called Odyssey. And it was kind of do you remember the Odyssey?
Yeah. Was
Wow.
that a Sega?
I don't remember who made it, but I remember that everybody was like, "Hey, let's go play Pitfall. Let's go do this, that." And I'm like, I have a thing called Odyssey, and they're like, "What the hell is that?" No one had any idea. But I remember you just sparked that memory that that game system was so cool, and we were kind of vintage because no one had it. So people were curious, and they would come over, and we didn't have much money, so we only had like two or three games, and it was probably the games they gave with the system. But I remember those antiquated early days and
Oh
all that.
yeah.
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 So, we're probably of the same age. In technology, did you get any certifications or go to school, or did you just get grandfathered in because the owners and CEOs were just willing to train you on the job?
No, every time I've taken on a new role or some new responsibility, I've gotten some kind of education to
Okay.
support it.
Yeah.
And so when I got into technology, I started with a project management certification with PMI. I got the CAPM, which is the precursor to the PMP, Project Management Professional, which most people know. CAPM is the same exam, it's the same study. It just doesn't, you don't qualify if you don't have the 1,800 hours of experience.
Gotcha.
So I didn't because I was in the jewelry industry. I actually did, but I didn't know it. I did a lot of project management stuff in jewelry, right?
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, so I've gotten two different project management certifications. Then I got a product management certification when I became a functional lead. When ChatGPT came out, and I got really interested in that, I took an MIT certification course and got certified in digital transformation with AI. And then when my heart led me towards coaching, I became a certified professional coach. So yeah, I always kind of get the formal training to formalize the experience and put it in, a digestible package for people.
So if you had a dream tonight and ran into the 18-year-old version of you and you had a big coffee table book and handed it over and said, "This is how your life has turned out so far." Would that young version of you believe it?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I had very much direction when I was young. I didn't have direction. I had like a lot of drive, but didn't really know where to put that energy. And so probably not.
Yeah. So, of everything that you've accomplished and done and the different transitions and overcoming and success, what are you the proudest of?
Just the fortitude that I found in myself, the resilience, the uh, the ability to just keep pushing. despite, whatever challenges come up. It's not easy, but taking small, and this is what I teach people too, small incremental steps are better and more productive and more valuable over time than trying to do like some huge overhaul.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
You know, when I chose to become a coach, it was not by accident. It's something that I've actually been doing my entire life. Back in high school, I was the guy that, friends would go on a drive with to talk about an issue that they had with their parents, or they'd come to me for advice about a relationship. I just always was the go-to person for advice or problem solving. And I did take that problem solving, ability into technology. But, looking back, it was really the people that I enjoyed working with.
So you were destined to be a coach.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. It's like what I've been doing my whole life.
Yeah. Yep. So silvermancoach.com, is that the best place to go for people that want the next step?
They can go to silverman.coach, and
Okay.
that'll get them my calendar, and they can schedule a free 30-minute strategy session with me if they want to kind of see what it's like to be coached. They can find all of my information on silvermancoach.com. So it's silverman.coach or silvermancoach.com.
Okay. I will put those links in the show notes. Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate your story, man. Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Best of
thank
luck.
you.
Have a great new year, man.
Awesome. You too.
Thank you.